Thank you for everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you for everyone showing up. It was so amazing to be present to all of you fine poets and to actually think that you would show up for me is just really empowering. And thank you. My first piece today is a collaboration with Lesley Constable. And so Lesley and I both need to be up, uh, Richard, for this.
Okay, will do. We go back to the gallery and bring up Lesley. Also, Lesley, where is she now? Ah, there she is. Her video is off. Start
What?
your video, Les.
Okay.
She seems to have stepped away.
Oh, well, you might be having some computer problems, perhaps.
Perhaps, perhaps.
Oh, here I am. Here I am. Sorry. I just went
Turn on your video, dear. Ah, there we go.
Okay.
There we go. It's a twosome.
Oh, alrighty
Oh,
then.
okay.
Yay. Hi, Lesley.
Well, hello, Ray.
Yeah, so let's just jump right in, eh? Um,
Okay. I didn't know we were going
this
to
one,
go up first. Sorry, I needed
oh,
some water.
well, that's okay. We're here now. Nothing like living in the now, right? So,
Yep.
this is a collaboration that Lesley and I have put together over the last several weeks, and it is a two pieces of poetry, one of hers and one of mine, that will be joined together very carefully, and I hope you all enjoy it. Her piece is called The Moment Night, and my piece is called To the Wilds, and I'll start. A beautiful woman's voice, strong, singing, melodic, delightful. No words, only long phrases, dynamics with intensity.
I remember the moment we agreed upon to call yesterday, and I remember a complete and perfect desire that overtook me, surprising the body, and I laughed, ridiculous and coy, with the body's delicious seizures of pleasure. Ah, the body.
Reminding, moving one of an early human singing in a distant valley where a creek winds through the trees.
Now, in the moment we call today, speechless and subdued, I am counting 1, 2, 3. I forget what's next. I hate counting when the body is momentarily silent and doesn't speak to you. I will not count. It is another day, another moment, and my body isn't speaking, and I will not count. I am not counting.
Having arisen from the skins of the night, standing on the rock jaw of her cave, looking at the sunlit morning, barefoot, warmed by the sun.
Expectations lace my midriff. I still my mind again, quiet my mind to track the stages of the moon coursing outside the window. From 1 month to the next, on it goes.
She is singing, moved by the morning's beauty. Her alto voice resonates intensely off the rock faces until lost in the green leafy woods. A near waterfall accompanies her, splashing percussions.
The shooting stars, nights that I was transparent, clothed, not clothed. The full moon above stills my mind again, quiets my mind to track the stages of the moon coursing outside the window from 1 month to the next. On it goes the shooting stars, Orion's belt, the dippers. I am listening again. I am listening. As I sleep at night, my soft pillow sighs and calls me. Rest, it says. Lay down your head, embrace me. I am yours.
It is wisdom flowing, just as she reaches a high note. Brace phrasing welling up, you feel it, an innately inborn one, breathing in those notes. It isn't just organized sound. Now to listen is a temptation.
My husband reads, claiming again his necessary right to chastened and exceedingly polite thought. Still, where will it take him this time? In the night, upstairs, and in the presence of the large window overlooking the world, the dark mesa, the snow and wind, the troubled juniper engorged with its jealous mistletoe, where will the wings he sprouts take him this night?
Never to be confused with the crying or the wanton sounds of a big cat. She is serenading the landscape, delighting in new meaning from deep inside.
As I sleep, my hair winds down and down, curling and tangling in the relentless toss and battle that is my sleep. In my dream, I am lying in a bed of carefully cut fingernails and toenails. I lie quiet in my uneasy bed, a hero in my bed of nails. As my hair grows and grows, tendrils wrap around my legs, down and down and down, becoming roots, taproots, down into Middle Earth, into the dark ground, freezing me in place, trapped and heroic.
Taking a deep breath, another phrase sung now, lilting with an upward turn, dynamic, crescendo, rising as the notes climb, and a certain decrescendo as the phrase ends.
I say, I am a mother. I say, I am a mother. The babies in their turn suckled, pinched, slapped, gurgled, spit up above. The moon races across the sky. I walked with them under the new moon. I walked with them under a full moon, under the stars, in the heavens, the nights when sirens squealed, when we all squirmed with discomfort in our beds under the darkest of moons, and chill when ghosts left red spots resembling blood next to your crib.
This is singing for the joy of it, moved to sound out. Happy sheerness. Any listener can't help but to feel the traveling up through the belly button. The core responds, sensual, even while oral, felt deep in the soul.
And I washed the blood away and washed the blood away, only for it to reappear when stars fell and gave way to the sobs of the man next door with the metal plate in his head, who cried at night because he was no longer young.
She stands while singing, eyes closed, on her rock jaw ledge of her cave, her safe place in this wildness.
Nights that I was transparent, clothed, not clothed, the full moon above me. I laugh, the babies laugh. I have the words, I have the language, the determination to entice their thoughts that flip behind their eyes to take form and enter the world as language. Their thought, their being in the world. I rest now because I am tired and deserve sleep on my soft pillow that whispers to me like a lover.
No conservatory of music influencing. She fills the concert hall of a green glen with tall trees. A watercourse winds through it.
I am going home. I am finding my way home through the twists and turns of mountain roads. Jazz, cool jazz wails at me in the night from the radio. The lights on plateaus both higher than you and lower than you, close and in the distance, fool you into believing the world is, as they say, only a picture framed against the night sky.
Mouth wide open, allowing projection, breathing in, singing out. Her volumes achieved another sheer joy, shoulders moving with the throat.
I know better. The night like my babies, like the moon, the ghosts who walk around me, who walk through me, is my body.
She moves her hands, arms with each crescendo, then hands together with the decrescendos. Perhaps there's a note of loss, well hidden, realism, till she gestures with each note.
I am the ground, and I am the sky, as are we all. I am the night, not separate from it. Do I get to go back? Will I have again the innocence of belief that, like the wind, or my thoughts, or my babies, I fly free through the air, separate, disattached, and as unencumbered as a traveler?
Of her joy of living this visceral life, not singing with anyone. It is her solo art, music. She sings to all the natural colors, browns, greens, blues. She has sung the creation of life.
Do I get to know again that my thoughts, like wings, are separate and can leave me and be free, their own in themselves, like headlights in the night searching, like the birds that fly low overhead through the mountains above my dreams? I am counting 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all. Lesley, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. It was wonderful. Thank you.
So I have more. Um, this next piece is called Surrenders, and it came out of a dream. As if in a dream, through the tossing and turning, green sheets and cover awry, there below the flying dream man were the soiled remnants of civil war. Saddled horses carrying men with stars on their shoulders, officer aides nearby, swords on, handguns holstered, eyeing each other intently, having been enemies just seconds before. Two horses tethered to separate rails, their riders inside agreeing to end the bloodletting struggle. Lee surrendered in 1865. Flying thoughts trailing, it is last night again, where the dream seems to take the symbols, all a metaphor without alliteration, for the passions of an earlier life falling away into the air below. It is flight away from a fight, cruising away from those old ardors, no longer present, only in memories, a regarding of the memory of a memory of a memory. There's an updraft in the sky, bringing a white, effortless soar. The flying man surrenders old passions, delightful, fruitful, empowering, gaining a strength to fly longer, further than ever expected, in a life lived in the now. Thank you. There's been such a conversation before the start of the show today about the political situation in the United States, and I've tried to participate with it, and I'm going to participate it with this next piece, these next two pieces. This first one of the next two is Stop Your Crying. A dreamless night, tossing and turning, resting somehow, nonetheless. A studio VU meter measures amplitude. Its greenish lit arm rises with each beat, a momentary spike. Songs come to mind. 4 dead in Ohio. Revolution. No more tears. Those that show blood on the music staff. For the 2 dead in Minneapolis. ICE, Border Patrol, their score 1 each. A meter stick. Let us pray these are not in some awkward vindictive competition. The VU spikes again, blips in the light. 2 Americans dead by their hands. We watch an angst, struck in the gut at something so un-American. The government lying to us again, like before, to the Native Americans, even more to Black Americans. Now more lies again from Stephen Miller, Bondi, and Trump, telling us not to believe our own eyes. Time for Americans to act in defense of our democracy. Time to define what we know an American is. No more tears for the dead. As we watch the meter spike again, no more tears. Time to act. Thank you. And this next piece is one that I wish I had written, but I didn't. And I'm going to presence it because it just seems so appropriate. This came from 1987, from Pink Floyd's album, A Momentary Lapse of Reason. On the turning away from the pale and downtrodden, and the words they say which we won't understand, Don't accept that what's happening is just a case of all the suffering, or you'll find that you're joining in the turning away. It's a sin that somehow light is changing to shadow and casting its shroud over all we have known, unaware how the ranks have grown, driven on by a heart of stone. We could find that we're all alone in the dream of the proud. On the wings of the night, as the daytime is stirring, where the speechless unite in a silent accord, using words you will find are strange, mesmerized as they light the flame, to feel the new wind of change on the wings of the night. No more turning away from the weak and the weary. No more turning away from the coldness inside. Just a world that we all must share. It's not enough to just stand and stare. Is it only a dream that there'll be no more turning away? Thank you. Now, this next piece is from my most recent book, The Tavern on Old Log Cabin Road. And a brief word about that is that it's a series of narrative poems about a family who owns a tavern in rural North Carolina from the year 1777 to the present day. There are many chapters, it's long, all of the pieces are long, and I have somehow managed to cut down this piece I'm going to read to you so it won't last like 40 forevers. These are stories, these are narrative poems. The stories are about the family talking about their predecessors, like at Thanksgiving or Christmas at the dining room table when all the kids have gotten up and gone to play. So this is chapter 4, Pressing into a Spring, the Freshlet of 1808, Granddaddy Reeve and the Bone Setter. During that past winter, with every breath one took, a cave mouth exhaled its cold, mist into the warmer air outside, when icicles still hung from the rock jaw. We look out. There it is, in anticipation, yes? The warm breath has to be there. That somewhere has come, then leaving behind the cold. The spring thaw had to be out there somewhere. All had anticipated. Everybody had looked forward to the end of winter, waiting for the night music, as in the wolf songs. Those towns, or those in towns as those trombones in the brass band in Ashboro, or a fine lady's alto voice singing a cheerful tune, ringing the bells of one's soul. The log raising was to be at Thomas Cross Farm, just a bit down from the tavern on Flat Creek. Men had spread the word by mouth at church or at the crossroads store or over a beer or two at the tavern and all those places of important social interactions. The Reverend Thomas Moffat was invited, though there were many that kind of hoped he'd be too busy somewhere else. Maybe at Sandy Creek Methodist Episcopal Church there would be keeping the locals there a bit occupied and requiring his presence. Besides, he won't too good with a hammer. It had been planned for only a few weeks. Now that it was spring, time had come. There were 11 men and their wives with their families that came for the construction. The woman spinning fabric on their looms brought along for such a purpose to stay, while the men raised notched logs to fall into place and raised them walls to grow upwards toward the sky where there weren't no confinement before. Even the bone setter was there, Hino Aldeminginger, invited by Granddaddy Reeve himself, who knew the man wouldn't be asked by most no one else. His countenance was too strange for most, except when they were hurt or injured, where he did marvelous, miraculous things for them. His hands would heat up with some sort of warmth. When he put them on you, it was local legend. Putting them where the injury was exactly, without even being told what was the problem. He did it with his eyes closed. And when they were open, when working, he seemed dreamlike. There was some talk from those present of the disaster recent, the flooding from late winter rains and snows, that freshness pouring over creekside fields, an unwelcome drowning of field and pasture alike, and the poor cross there on the east riverbank of Deep River, where most everything washed away downriver in the night. Most thought it was good. It was good for another long grazing this soon, to help a poor cross who barely escaped the freshlet with their lives that night. Both house and barn were damaged enough to require immediate repair, and no one had seen their cows ever again after things settled down. The afternoon wore on, work getting done, beer being drunk out of the barrel by more than a few, most enjoying the nice sort of warm spring day with the sunshine all afternoon bringing along a sunny disposition. It was funny to see the young men eyeing the young ladies, and the young ladies looking sideways so as not to get caught looking back. Mr. Thomas Croft wanted a notch gap in the back, put a shop fireplace in another later day. Both walls in the back were up, so the next thing to raise the roof a bit. The fellows doing the notching were very good at it today. The roof work was tricky, though. Superior balance is required for it, and settling logs into place up there was the work for several. Settling the several ladders around the place of mounting and the beams, sometimes menfolk got in the way of each other, and a hammer might be dropped, or worse. Today was no exception to that careful work, and the two beams had been set already when it happened. That Thomas Croft fell off in his perch there, and 10 feet down onto some logs below, and rolling off in those until he became sorely stationary on the solid ground beside them. His painful cries sounded immediately. Weren't just no dusting off and getting back to it. And some of the men were standing around him when Heno pushed his way through and started to assist. Thomas looked up to him, asking, "Help me, please," and in the quiet voice of that nature that when someone's hurt has the manner of. Heno told the guys to get some soft cloths and began to work on Thomas. Put his hands there on his buttocks and left hip, which was the part of him that took the biggest blow in the fall to the logs. Thomas was moaning, wanted to move about and couldn't. Heno placed his hands on that hip and held it in place for a bit. And then Thomas's neck and held it there too for a longer bit. Thomas's wild eyes began to hold still and calm down a little. When next Heno went back to the hip area with one hand on the hip and one on the small of the back, which he held much longer. Thomas by this time was over the fright. His eyes followed Heno's movements without exception, and when Heno asked him to raise up or move in such a way, Thomas did it just then and there. Heno asked for one of the cloths and held it between his hands for about a minute. Granddaddy Reeve had been there watching when Heno was about to place that cloth. Reeve said, "Let me see what your hands are doing," and with complete surprise felt the hotness that was emitting from Heno's hands, and said in no one in particular, "Well, I'll be." Heno took his own hands off, moving them in short, quick movements, sort of like you'd whisk a skeeter away, and then back to the cloth to Thomas's back. All this lasted many more minutes. Onlookers were there, a whole bunch of them, as Heno did his visible touching and invisible healing. Heno stopped, stepped back a bit, asked Thomas, "How's das Dings now, mein Freund?" Holding out his hand and grasping Thomas's extended hand, helped him to standing tall. Thomas was amazed. He had no more pain at all. However, no more amazed than the crowd that was watching. It wasn't until Thomas stood without apparent more trouble, so that Heno was standing there beside him, still eyeing the hurt spots, or where they'd been anyway, did he realize all the folk that was watching were still a-watching. Heno just nodded his head towards them all, making no eye contact, walked off toward the beer keg. Supper was served at nightfall. Log raising at the Croft farm had brought folk from all around, and they were hungry now. The day's work had been hard. Walls were raised, some roof as well, them having been stopped when Thomas fell. Near dark now, close enough to be ready for the women to make a fine meal over the outside cook fires. The young men still did look at those young women now. More beer was down the hatch, and the folk were tired when someone struck up a merry tune on the banjo, and soon a mandolin and a fiddle joined in. After supper, somehow the young men ended up near the young women they fancied, to begin a frolic by those with such lasses that might have been pleased to take a part in it. Those shapely lasses and the sinewy lads in the dark spring night went merry as a merry church bell. There might have been some mischief about, even so, out of the good reverend's view. The singles, the little lasses and the young men slipping out of the firelight to something more private, moved by the sap and the spring's moon above, towards an urge as old as the skies. Those that had packed a tent for themselves took to it thereafter, while those that lived close by, like Granddaddy Reeve, could saddle up and wander back home, sleep in his own bed, and in the morning could have a cup of strong brew coffee before returning. With every breath they take, no cave mouth, exhaling cold still, icicles long gone, its rock jaw inviting privacy for lads and lasses. The rest of us choosing not to look in too close either. Warm breath has to be there. That somewhere was there was then. Moved by the intensity of the recent thaw, juices risen to the hottest moment, as to move closer to the moment of intimacy, with the one chance to be with you, then leaving one's cave just after, walking into the lamplight. Thank you. I know that was long, folks, but I thank you. I appreciate the listening. I have two more pieces, and then I'll give it all up. This next piece is called, and they're shorter. I promise these are short.
You're doing fine, Ray. You're doing fine. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. This next piece is called After Meeting Her. Strong, intentional, soft-spoken. Blue eyes, or were they brown? Colors lost in the looking. Drawn into the depth of that experience, she's a determined 5'5" to my 5'10". Hearts touched, at the very least. Mine moved. Part of the bane of living in touch is just knowing more. Much, much more. More often than not, when energies meet, desiring so beyond the physical, in microseconds that's felt. Assessments occur in the blink of an eye. Auras shift, colors blend. Two are drawn together, metal to magnet. Will you be in my dreams tonight? Will I awake remembering your hug? Will we run through the warm mist to end up in each other's arms? You came in through the window of my heart to stand barefoot, looking intently in my eyes. When toes touching toes, chest to chest, another powerful electric hug. When love happens like that feeling so instantaneous, and a chance encounter, warm, vivacious, the words spoken so secondary, the eyes having been lost within each other, a hug, arms and hands feeling chest to chest, heart to heart, confirming then what the two human beings already knew, already knowing about the other. Thank you. And I'll end with this piece that I really am hoping that you'll be as fond of it as I am. It's called Water. Headwaters of the Rio Grande are roaring, full of snowmelt, pouring down from the high peaks, rivulets filling rocky watercourseways, those filling small gorges in the high rocks, all of it pouring over cliffside, a waterfall white with beauty, falling 250 feet, leaving a wee rainbow of mist in the air. The Rio Grande flows its way to Texas, and here the headwaters are angry. Crossing this is now impossible. Splashes and sprays from rocks and a noisy roar as the churning water collides. Even Brother Moose, daring to cross, has trouble. The water could be the trouble with the constructs of men. Anger, trepidation, buffeting, thundering. The mountain gods voice their opinions with lightning. Strong winds tug at trees. Some Native American tribes say that we are the water, going well beyond a wet, beyond the feel of humidity, to the forests, the trees, the animals, and even when we are laid to rest in the earth, the flow continues as the earth gladly accepts us. Everything returns in a cycle as old as time and ends up in the rainwater falling. Thank you all. I'm so deeply appreciative of this opportunity to be with you.
Splendid, Ray. Splendid. Everybody, turn off your mics and let him hear your comments.
That's beautiful, Ray.
Bravo, Ray.
Bravo, Ray.
So good. So good, Ray. I was mesmerized the entire time. I love your storytelling.
Beautiful, Ray.
You read really well, Ray.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for being
Wonderful set, Ray. Wonderful set.
absolutely.
I love the call and response, the first with Lesley. I mean, I can't remember all the things I think, so I write them in the chats, and hopefully I can, say something about it. But what I sensed was like almost like Ray was the context for what was happening, the activity, and the nature, and Lesley was the surrendered to cosmic wonder, just kept getting bigger and bigger. But I thought that was a really interesting piece, not only meaningful, but almost as a model for what people can do together. It was so complimentary. I just love that.
Me too.
Uh, yeah, and I think, well, Ray, of course, I think his real charism is always to pull us into nature, whether it's water or mountains or
Absolutely.
salmon or fish or things that I don't see at all. But I feel like I'm there, and you know what the great thing is, you can feel the love that he has for nature, and that's transmissible.
Well said.
I'd even say reverence. I would.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Therese. And Lesley and I put this together. She
Yeah.
was so amazingly great to work with, and I so appreciate her being here today.
Well, it was your idea, Ray, and like early on, I think I'd mentioned to Ray how his work regarding nature was just so reminiscent of Gary Snyder, the beat poet, who I always had such regard for. And I think you outdo him, Ray, actually. So
That's very high praise, Lesley,
Okay.
and not undeserved.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the games. Karen, would you step up to the microphone and share your
Hey,
thoughtful
Rick, before you start, could you stop the recording and begin anew for Karen? Because our
Sir, you
friend
are
Dave.
wise beyond your years.
Wise Rorschach. Yeah. It's my only touch into remaining in this world when I'm gone, I guess. Seasons stretch. The air is alive as seasons stretch their arms, holding hands through time. The sky breathes in autumn mists. Summer silence, winter chill, expecting spring, as blossoms burst shyly from naked branches, wondering if they are on time, or perhaps a little early. The birds are back, and not yet March. They yearn again to call their mates, to call the sun to wake and ride the sky. The birds are back and sing of rain and sun and trees and air and wind, and fluff themselves, airbrush their feathers, till they lift and fly themselves away. And this one is called Everness. How did chaos break into eternity? How did molecules find their way into the vastness of never and ever? How did split atoms and moist air make a baby's cry after a dinosaur had left his mighty paw immersed in teeming time, not to mention lime? How did a hummingbird find her way into a flower, the wind crack open limbs of trees, the oceans carve great valleys from which tiny blooms and tinier insects might find their homes? How did eternity allow an island of finite matter, living growth, stone and snails, children with pails, shovel and sails, bedrock and laughter penetrate its everness? And my last poem is Walking Through the Mirror. Imagine walking through the mirror, fluttering into another dimension, catching hold of the sky, yet feeling nothing, endless sky, yet empty. Imagine walking through the mirror as through air, boundless, horizonless, moon and sun, rising and setting together like the midnight sun, above all boundaries. Constellations wrapping themselves around the journey through a mirror, shining through the other side, glimpsing nothing, wind and hail, blowing a trumpet voluntary, throwing all of life into a skyless sky, all blues, yet blueless, full of yesterdays, todays, tomorrows, never and always, boundless, unbounded, lost in the music of silence on the other side of the mirror. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo.